The Film Crickets are intended for mature audiences. Any guests on the Film Crickets do not necessarily share the same opinions as the Film Crickets.
Film Crickets, chirping about movies.
It's time for the Film Crickets with Jay Fortier, Chris Martineau, and Melanie Howerton. On this week's episode, it's just Jay and Chris, and they review the 1986 American comedy film Back to School.
We've got a lot to cover, and time is short.
Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
All right, hey friends, my name is Jay Fortier, and welcome to the Film Crickets. And I am along with my good friend and co-host Chris Martineau. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jay, what's happening?
Doing all right. Melanie is on a little hiatus, and she will be back soon. Now, in the past, on the last episode, we had mentioned that we were going to be doing Predator 2. The problem is I watched it about like close to a month ago. And then other things started to like happen, which made us cancel shows. And then last week we ended up doing the Hulk.
Oh boy, I remember the Hulk. What a fond memory.
Right.
God.
And
I'm still bored.
No, but
I'm
it's
still
like
bored from that.
Right.
Jesus
no,
Christ.
But we mentioned on that episode that we were doing Predator 2 soon. But
Sure.
the thing is, I'm going to have to rewatch it. It's too far from my brain that I can't, like, you'd be talking about it. I'd be like, yeah, I remember that sort of.
I hate it so much. I watched it 6 weeks ago. I hate that movie so much.
That it's burned.
It's
branded. Yeah.
I'm ready to talk about whatever you want. So it's all good.
Maybe we'll wait for Melanie. I don't know. We'll see.
Sure.
I do want to squeeze in Independence Day before or, very close to Independence Day. Hopefully, the actual time. Last year we attempted it and we had some problems. So there was glitches. There was
A
some
glitch or
glitches.
two. 80 proof glitch. Sure. All right.
Anyway,
Had nothing to do with that one. Just for the record.
no.
All right.
But it's one of my favorites from years ago, so I really, really want to talk about that movie.
Sure.
And,
It's a classic. You can
fun.
watch that whenever. Yep.
And and we got a comment, which was really fun the other day on Hulk. And then
Okay.
it disappeared.
Oh.
And her name is Barbara.
Okay.
And I wanted to comment back, but I was at work, so I couldn't, you can't reply. And she confirmed that someone did get out of the tank after the tank got whipped, like about a mile down the street.
Okay.
Remember,
Good.
like in the desert, it like got whipped like a mile away.
Yep.
Someone got out of that tank, and I was like, thank you. And she said that, to your point of, like how the bullets would bounce off of him, and how crazy would it be to try to take a drill to the Hulk and think you're going to get a sample. And she had said it reminded her of George Reeves being shot at in the Superman show, and all the bullets are bouncing off, and then the guns would run out of bullets. Like the guys would run out of bullets and throw the gun. And then the funniest thing was George would then duck.
Yep. Oh, shit.
Like,
Not the gun.
and my only comment was going to be probably so George Reeves doesn't get hit in the head.
Yeah.
Like the actual George Reeves, not Superman, get hit in the head by a metal gun, even if it's a prop gun. So thank you, Barbara, for comment. I don't know what happened, like why it got removed or whatever.
Miss Streisand, I appreciate that you listen to the show and are willing to comment. And when you're not browsing in your Nordstrom in your basement, that you took time out of your day to talk about Hulk with us, I really appreciate that, Miss.
And
Streisand.
your ex-husband is a crazy person.
Yes, very much.
John Peters is the
John Peters, totally chill and normal guy. Yes.
Is he an ex-husband or?
I don't know that they were married. I think they were
whatever,
just,
crazy
like,
man.
business partners.
I find it shameful that he owns Superman, or he did.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, he was crazy, but a sweet man.
Oh yeah, totally chill and normal.
Yeah,
absolutely no cocaine at all.
Yeah,
none. Zero.
So, anyways, today we're going to talk about
that guy.
Right.
Coke Zero. All right, sorry.
No, but today we're going to talk about a movie starring a guy who never did any coke.
No, not a bit.
He got no respect.
No respect at all.
We're going to talk about Back to School.
Yes.
With, Rodney Dangerfield. So
yes.
Chris, you want to take us down the IMDb and then the history
Well,
or whatever?
you know, let me ask you a question before we get to IMDb. What was your? I'm going to tell you my history with this movie. It's kind of weird. This was a grandma piracy classic. My grandma was big on. She liked all those stand-ups from those old Vegas stand-ups. So, you know, Buddy Hackett and the insult guy who was in Toy Story.
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, right? And all those Vegas style guys. And Rodney came from absolutely that kind of school. And so everybody thought he was funny. This is the time of the Rodney rap, I believe
Rappin' Rodney. Yeah.
Rappin' Rodney, right? And, 60-year-old guy rapping, go figure. So my history with this movie, this was a pirated classic. I did watch this over and again. I remember that, my friend Jeff and I, specifically watched this movie and paused it during the shower sorority scene. So keep in mind that we're in the 7th grade and haven't seen a lot of naked people. So therefore, that was a good chance to see that. There is a rather egregious full frontal scene in the movie. But, what are you going to do? It's the 80s. So I remember that was a...
I wouldn't say full frontal. It was a PG-13
No, you're right. Not
movie.
full frontal, but still.
Yeah.
How about unnecessary?
But no, that's fine.
But whatever, it's the 80s. I'm not apologizing for it. It's what happened. And when you're in the 8th grade, you are psyched when that happens. And then that movie sat on the shelf. And then I went to college in 92. And all of my suite mates just swore by Back to School. And we must have watched it about a dozen times over and again just because we thought it was funny. And so that's my history. I haven't watched it since 1993. And thank you, Tubi. Got to watch it for free this morning. So that's my history with it. Jason, didn't see it in the theater. Jason, what's your deal?
Well, before I take you down the history, I just want to say it's kind of odd that the movie does have the topless scene. And also 2 F-bombs in a row, which usually PG-13 allows for 1.
Yep.
So I don't know if 1980s had a different like standard.
Yeah.
Not so much. I know the nudity was still, if it was topless, you could sort of get it quick, and it was PG-13. I've seen that before. It wasn't the first time. Yep. However, I thought it was weird that there were 2 F-bombs because, when he was talking about Kurt Vonnegut. Fuck me. Yeah. Fuck you. Yeah. I mean, I'm not offended. It's more of just like,
That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's funny.
But, okay, I did see it in the theater.
Okay.
And I've seen it many times over the years. I did own it at one time, I think, on tape.
Okay.
And I haven't seen it in a while, though. So it was a nice long stretch between seeing it. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
All right. So let's get into Back to School. So here we are. Back to School. I came out in 1986. It's PG-13. It's an hour and 36 minutes long. To help his discouraged son get through college, a fun-loving and obnoxious rich businessman decides to enter the school as a student himself. Directed by Alan Metter, written by Stephen Campman, Willem Porter, PJ Turek. Yeah, I can't say the last name. And it stars Rodney Dangerfield, Sally Kellerman, Burt Young, Keith Gordon, Robert Downey Jr., Oscar award-winning Robert Downey Jr. when he was 20 years old. Emmett Walsh is in this movie. Adrienne Barbeau playing her typical self in this movie. Ned Beatty, Sam Kinison, Kurt Vonnegut is in this movie. Edie McClurg is in this movie.
Well, very, kind of a cameo, but
yeah, a lot of people in this movie. So Jay,
let's not forget William Zabka. Did you mention?
Oh,
him?
Forgot about Zabka. That's right.
Yeah.
So when you want a bitchy wife, you get Adrienne Barbeau, and when you want a bully, you get Zabka.
Yeah.
And that's basically your whole situation.
Until Cobra Kai, when he finally gets a redemption story.
I know. I haven't watched Cobra Kai. Probably won't at this point. Don't know how much I care. Sorry. Don't at me. Don't care.
It's all right.
Just don't care. So Jake, here's the deal. Here's the deal. So here we have Dangerfield and basically doing his thing throughout the movie. And we have what's his name again? Sorry, I just forgot. His son.
Kid,
Jason, yeah.
I don't know his name. I'm bad.
He was in Christine.
Yes.
And whatnot.
He's back from the dead.
Yeah.
That's the only other thing I know him from. I know him from 2 movies.
What's the other one?
Christine and this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know him from anything else.
I can't. Maybe one other, but he probably plays the same character. Did you like how every now and then he would throw in a New York accent?
Yes. Yes.
When
he got mad, too. When he got mad, it was really thick.
Only when he was mad. So I don't know what to do with that was. So Jay, here's the thing, and the question I have is, here we have Jason is the character. He's Rodney Dangerfield's son. He's in college, and he is not having a good time in college. It's not to say that he's failing his classes. He just feels he doesn't fit in. It's never said that he's on probation or anything, right?
No, he said he got all C's, I think, the last time.
You know what? C's get degrees, folks. Until you figure it out, you're going to graduate with C's. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, no. But he was talking about how he just, he wasn't on the swim team.
Yeah.
He wasn't in a fraternity. He got all C's last semester. And then Rodney said something about, hey, you're in the top 3.
Yeah.
Which is, it was cute.
So I guess, there's so many things about this movie that don't make a lot of sense, which we'll get into just in terms of, oh boy. But I guess the question is, Rodney thinks that the whole idea of the movie is that this kid, Jason, has lost his confidence and isn't going to be successful in life. And dad is going to come fix the problems by enrolling into school and making a hefty donation to be able to register as a 60-year-old freshman and live on campus, which they would not allow. I guess what I want to say is, no matter, it seems like they have a good relationship. If your dad followed you to college and hung out with you all the time, regardless of the relationship you had, wouldn't you be mortified?
Mm-hmm.
Like, nothing against our fathers. Like, regardless of wouldn't you be like, Dad, can please get out of here?
Well, I think he kind of was.
Please get out of here. What?
I think he kind of was. Like, he was happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what, though? He really didn't enjoy college at all. Like,
okay.
He was saying, and I'm just trying to, this is like being devil's advocate.
Sure.
He didn't enjoy college very much at all. Like, where he was, he was lying to his father on the phone. Mm. Yeah, everything's great, but don't come.
Yeah.
And he finally showed up. I think, I don't think he was worried about what that was going to do for his life at college, because he already didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I think, fine, this is cool. And you saw him laughing at stuff. Like, so,
yeah.
I would agree. Most people would be mortified.
It seemed like he didn't mind him being there and basically coming in and taking over his life. I'm going to make sure you get the classes that you want. I'm going to make sure you're on the swim team. I'm going to renovate your dorm,
which would yeah. And by the way, here's a plot hole there. Derek Lutz, which is Robert Downey Jr. and Jason, they are roommates. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Now, after the construction is done and they're unaware of the construction, they all go into separate rooms, like separate doors, as if they live separately.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's his roommate.
It was the funniest thing. It's like Derek and Jason would not enter separate doors.
No.
But it was like more for the dramatic effect of seeing how big it was, but it was pretty funny.
I know, but I know it's a comedy, but they put in a hot tub. The plumbing alone, to redirect all that plumbing, is like, it's like living in your house and moving the sink in your bathroom on one side of the house, one side of the room to the other side of the room. Do you know how much you have to gut your house to move the pipes from one side of the room to the other, much less add a hot tub? And the electrical service that goes, again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that guy, but it's like, okay, all right, fine, it's a comedy. That's fine. But again, it seems like Jason doesn't mind that he's there. I would be mortified. The only time that it seems like he minds when Rodney is there is when Rodney isn't taking college seriously. Like, that's when he gets pissed off. Like, you can't just, like, buy your way through college. You can't just hire Kurt Vonnegut to write your papers.
And another thing, Vonnegut.
Which is such a good scene. And another thing, Vonnegut. They actually got Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty good. Good for you.
And then it makes it funnier too, because the English professor lady that is the love interest for Rodney.
Yeah.
She says, whoever wrote this doesn't know the first thing about Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah. Quick cut to, and another thing, Vonnegut. What? Fuck me.
I'm canceling the check.
Yeah. Do you read lips? Fuck you, I believe.
Fuck me.
I mean, fuck you. I think that, that's kind of goofy. So that's kind of on the surface stuff. That is unbelievable. But you're willing to buy into it because I do accept they go to great lengths for Rodney to show up, throw a bunch of money around, and then everybody likes him. And that's kind of how he's gotten his way through most of life, is that he was like successful. He didn't want to go to school. He just wanted to be a businessman. He's seemingly a good businessman because he built what is it? Tall and fat?
Yeah.
Tall and fat. Mm-hmm. So what we're to assume here is that Jason they're originally from New Jersey, New York, tri-state area situation. And they go up to college at Great Lakes University, which is made up, but it's probably in upstate New York, Michigan, Ohio, somewhere in the Great Lakes, right? Up north.
Cold.
It's actually shot in the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Cold.
Okay, cold, right?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Does this movie start? Now on the phone, they go through great lengths to tie up the loopholes in this movie. Great lengths. There's so many loopholes that they have to, because it doesn't make sense for Rodney Dangerfield to actually be enrolled in college. They make up so many fucking things to shoehorn it in to make it work. He's on the phone with Jason. Jason, you're not having a good time? How are classes going? Dad, I told you, classes haven't started yet. We're in between semesters. Okay, so that makes it available for Rodney Dangerfield to actually register for classes at the beginning of the semester. So, what beginning of the semester are we in, Jason?
January.
Are we in August or
January.
are we in January?
January.
January? Okay.
Oh, you're mid-January. Usually,
I disagree because when Rodney shows up to the sorority house and we get to see the topless scene, there are orange leaves on the
it's
tree.
autumn. I know, it's autumn.
I know.
I'm saying it should be January.
I know it should be January. It's fall. Yeah. It's fall. And not only that, but Robert, I'm going to call him RDJ, it's so much to say. RDJ is he's a great character in it. He's just like super, like classic liberal art student, doesn't know what he wants to do. He's just going to college. Hipster, yeah, like just fuck the system kind of
Bluish
guy.
hair, reddish hair.
Yeah, absolutely. And whatever. And he's going to disrupt a pep rally because it's a neo-fascist something. So there's football. So it's fall. What sport does Jason want to do?
Diving.
Where's the diving?
Now here's what they could have done if they just wanted it. They could have done it indoors.
Yeah, I know.
Like there are indoor diving facilities on this planet.
Yeah.
Find it, use it.
Yep.
And then we wouldn't have this problem. This problem would go away.
Yep. There's a cutaway scene. So we're doing diving outside at the end. By the way, when Rodney takes his final exam, which is nonsense also, we're talking December. And they go to an outside diving meet in December in either Wisconsin.
Where everybody's only wearing Speedos.
Yeah, or whatever, Great Lakes, but still, it says that's Northern America. So that's going to be cold. And there's a cutaway scene. Now, I know they didn't have to film it probably whatever, right? They probably filmed it when it was warm. There is probably not a cut scene, but a reshoot where we see not Ned Beatty, but the diving coach.
Sure.
He's saying, Melon, we need you. And you can see steam coming out of his mouth. Like it's obviously a reshoot. At that moment, they called him back and made him. It's cold.
People in the audience watching the diving meet are wearing coats.
Sure, I mean, I
no, but I'm saying like
I hear you.
It's not summer.
I agree. Down here in Maryland, people wear coats and it's 75 degrees, and I don't understand.
Yeah, but
I've been watching Breaking Bad, and people in New Mexico are wearing coats and jeans. Yeah, I know. They're wearing sweaters.
Yeah,
they're wearing sweaters, and it's diving. Guys, come on now. All right. So,
well, let's not forget
there's
Burt
that.
Young is in this.
That's right. Burt Young.
Yeah.
What is Burt Young?
Burt Young's the limo driver, Lou.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, Burt Young is in this movie. He gives some sage advice. Hey, your father's just looking out for you.
Yeah, he's great, though. He's fun.
You know what? He does his job. He's adorable.
I love him. Like, hey, Lou.
I don't know.
He goes, Lou, girls, this is Lou. Lou, these are girls.
These are girls, yeah.
I love that line.
Okay, now wait a minute. This movie's so 80s. Everywhere you go, there's a live band. That version of Shake It Up Baby makes me want to throw up. But wherever you go, there's a live band.
Now, you talking about when Rodney joins them or before?
Both.
Because it's funny. It's funny when Rodney joins them.
But I know.
When he's going, shake it, baby.
So here's the thing, and this is what I pressed up against that I only got this time. In the time that I was from 1987, when I was 13, to now, 49, I have grown a hatred for Benny Hill and any of that type of humor because it's gross, right? It's just dirty old man stuff. And there's nothing, I'm not going to apologize for it. It is of its age. I don't have to like it. Like, I realize I'm not trying to be all like sensitive, but it's creepy and gross when old men are chasing young women around. All of this movie is Benny Hill. Right. Isn't it kind of gross? Like, I know it's funny. It's supposed to be funny. In 87, it was funny. But if you're in a bar, if you're in a college bar and you're asking 20-year-olds to have a beer with you and your weird limo driver, who's obviously also in his 50s or 60s, isn't that kind of gross?
I get what you're saying. I felt like this was more, I'm going to talk about all around Rodney for this movie.
Sure. Yeah.
Not just that specific. I want to say this felt more, like watered down Rodney compared to, like keep it PG-13 Rodney.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as offensive as it could have been had it been like meant to be an R-rated film like Caddyshack or whatever.
I agree. I'll go one further. I knew Rodney from his stand-up from Johnny Carson, which is fairly digestible. And then I knew him a little bit from Caddyshack, even though I never sat through the whole thing when I was small. And what's he say? Nice hat. You should get it free with a bowl of soup. Like, there's nothing too crazy about that. And I specifically remember when VCRs first came out, we rented one. Okay, because we didn't have enough money to buy one, so we rented one for the weekend, and we got 3 videos. One of them was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Watched it 4 or 5 times. And another one was Easy Money. Easy Money is a Rodney Dangerfield film, and it is gross. Like, he's doing drugs.
I still have
in
great
it.
memories of it, though.
Oh,
I still have a lot of quotes I love from that movie.
I don't know anything about the movie except that the whole point was he had to not philander or look at porn or smoke weed or
to lose weight
or gamble.
Yeah,
he had to lose
do
weight.
everything.
And if he did that, he won a bunch of money. And I just remember feeling kind of uncomfortable watching that movie as a small child because all of that was in it. And I'm like, whoa, this is not. I know Rodney from Johnny Carson. I know Rodney from.
You weren't ready
so
for
to
that.
see him, to see him in Back to School, it was a little easier, even though he does have lines like, my wife gives great headache. That's mild. That's mild compared to Easy Money. It's just Easy Money is just gross.
Can I tell you something funny about Easy Money?
Go ahead. I don't remember anything about it except I was uncomfortable.
His mother-in-law fakes her death so she can put him through this fake will.
Yeah.
Of like lose weight, do this for a year, and earn all these things, and then you'll get my inheritance. But she's not actually dead. And anyways, so he gets the phone call in the middle of the night that she's dead.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Hello." Oh, that's awful. And I love that moment because he hates her. So the fact that he laughs in the process of learning that she's dead, but then throws in that's awful. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, let's get back to school.
No, it's fine. So to me, it was a little more digestible, but still we go from Rodney having drinks with co-eds, and the co-eds are like, yeah, sure, which is what agency do they have? And then there's the hot tub scene where, granted, nobody's unclothed, but Rodney, let's just say, has a snorkel and a diving mask and comes up for air and says, now that's what I call marine biology. I mean, that's kind of gross.
Well,
I remember laughing at it in the day, and now I'm just like, oh, that's really gross.
Let's add that the girl's subject was poetry, and he says, let me see if you can help me straighten out my Longfellow.
Yeah, oh, God. Oh. Or I'd like to tame your shrew. Like, But he says
it still felt cartoonish, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it didn't feel as, I know you're bothered, but like, I didn't feel like it was that bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen way worse.
Oh, sure.
Where I felt like, whoa, like in movies. But this wasn't, I don't know. I think because he keeps it going. Like, he keeps the laughs, like, or he keeps the vibe going that he sticks with.
I think it's helpful to diffuse that. If you can't get over that, I think to diffuse it are the faces he makes. Like, obviously, the bug eye look, and he always looks surprised. I can't do it because I don't have the facial features to do what Rodney can do. If I could, I'd be Rodney. Right. It's not the lines. It's obviously the selling of it. And, you know, I'm not even going to try to fake the physical humor. But I think that does kind of, you know, that does diffuse it. And it does make it that he's a loser, like, who's ever actually going to. He never actually does commit the deed with any young person.
Right.
You know, he's mostly going after his real love interest is someone who's more age appropriate for him, even though he's still kind of a goofball when it comes to that.
You know, it's funny.
What?
And it's just like it's a petty thing, but she just got off of a date with Philip.
Yeah.
And gets mad at Rodney for, you know, misbehaving with women. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't sense a commitment if you have a date with Philip tonight. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you can get upset that he's, you know, doing a little like womanizing type stuff, but I'm saying,
right.
It's like, how committed are the two of you?
Well, true. Even though he does care about her, but doesn't even know what that means. I think it, because he's treating all of college as a joke. That's what his son kind of gets mad at. Like, that's the thing that kind of comes around. Like, this isn't a joke. Like, I want to do well here. You're just buying your way through, and you're treating this like this is a joke. And it's not a joke to me, even though he doesn't really sell it that great. Jason doesn't do a super job. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but the character Jason doesn't do a super job in selling that too much. I really don't see what his problem is. I feel as though he probably, even if his dad wasn't there, he probably would have come to that conclusion anyway. Just Rodney's just kind of there being Rodney. Maybe in because he got mad at his dad, he put himself on the straight and narrow. Because his dad doesn't do anything really to help. His dad helps, but he doesn't help. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's there to smooth things over, make it a little easier. And even when he sort of helps him get on the dive team, even if you sucked, you wouldn't be on the dive team. You know what I mean? So it was a help, but Rodney's the first helicopter parent. He's the first kind of like, I'll make everything easier for you. When really sometimes helping isn't helping.
Right.
You know, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Let's talk about the other things that can't possibly happen. If you blow off all your classes, I know that you donated they keep going this again. So many ways to plug up loose ends. We let Rodney do whatever because he bought a building on campus. So because of that, he can fail everything, but we'll give him one exam at the end. And it'll count. That any university of any integrity is not going to do that. First of all, and second of all, how long was his final exam his oral exam in front of everybody? How long was it supposed to take?
I forget.
3 hours. And the economics professor gave him one question with 27 parts and subsets. That in and of itself would have taken 3 hours. We didn't even get to see Sam Kinison say his thing.
Oh.
And he passes his English exam because he can recite a poem. What? I can recite a poem. That doesn't make me pass an English class. Like that's goofy. Also, let's keep in mind that we had a person come in from the audience to compete in a diving competition that was sanctioned by the NCAA, I guess.
No, yeah, we're just having fun nitpicking. Yeah. Because, like, if you think about it, he didn't even ask Rodney if he would do the dive that he said almost killed him years ago.
Yep. Yep.
We need you. He's going to do the triple Lindy. Wait, what? He just learned. Rodney only learned that he was going to do the triple Lindy at the top of the diving board area. Like,
no, there was no communication. He just said, we need you. And then the diving coach said to the scorer, said he's going to do he's going to do the triple Lindy. He did not communicate that.
No. Then the guy said it like on a microphone.
That's right.
As Rodney's at the top. So that's the first time Rodney heard that. I just thought it was pretty funny.
And they also installed an extra springboard on the spot.
Now, let's also, I know, yeah, because it takes no time. I'm sure it's up to regulation. Just, some drills.
Whatever.
Right? No, but let's not forget, Oingo frickin' Boingo was in this.
Yep.
How cool is that?
Did a super job.
Yeah, it's such a good tune, too.
Man, that guy can sing.
Yeah, he can. And write music.
Yep. I know, but he's got, I listened to it and I forgot, like I knew it was Danny Elfman, but I also was listening and trying to hear Jack Skellington in it, and I could hear it. I'm like, wow, that's something. He's really talented. He's kind of a mess, but he's really talented. So look, the movie does anything, do you think there's a plot to this movie? Or was it just, I'm watching it going, did they set up anything at the beginning that pays off at the end? Or was it just, here's a new problem, here's a new problem, here's a new problem?
Well, what about the whole lecture of, it doesn't matter what you do, like, you need an education, and he's like, like with the father.
I know that pays off, but it's not, to me, what makes it such an 80s movie or an 80s comedy is that, yeah, it's got this central idea, but then it just goes from, like, joke to joke to joke. It was kind of what my issue with Real Genius is that it just kind of like, I don't know where it was going. And then suddenly it's over. It was just, look, it's a vehicle for Rodney Dangerfield to say Rodney Dangerfield things. Right. So it doesn't need necessarily a plot, except Jason's going to be comfortable in college and will get the girl he likes. But that's all the stakes in the movie.
Yeah, you know what? Some movies don't have plots, but it doesn't make them bad. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but how many of the early 80s comedies have we watched, good and bad, that are this? Right? I'm thinking Class, which was stupid.
It was
terrible. I know, but it's just like so many of those just. You could say St. Elmo's Fire, which isn't a comedy. It doesn't really have a plot. It's just like scene to scene to scene to scene. And so because of that, I found, even though you obviously had some giggles and I had a lot of fun remembering when my college friends and I would quote this movie, the middle kind of is like, it's kind of slow. Like, it's kind of slow because I don't know, like, where's this going? I don't care about any of these people except for Rodner saying something funny. So it's tough for me to kind of invest, if that makes sense. I don't know that it does, but... and you know what? Didn't you want Zabka? Don't you wanted to see him kind of humiliated more than he was?
Well, he got punched in the face. That was pretty rough.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
And then he bailed himself out because he didn't want to look bad under the fact that Jason did well. So he faked a cramp.
You know what's the thing about the 80s? What people thought were funny? Menstruation. There's a line in this where it says cramps. What are they? Menstrual cramps? Ha ha ha. And there's a line in Predator 2, which we didn't talk about, but where Bill Paxton's trying to be funny and mentions that someone's on their period. I'm like, what? Was this really funny back in the 80s? Like, was this like a punchline to everything? Like, good gravy, guys. Like, it's so terrible. That's such a terrible thing I'm glad we've kind of grown out of that a tad. Just like some of the other things that we would say that would not be appropriate now. It's just like, man.
Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is on the ground doing that weird, like, sexual pose. And then Rodney Dangerfield says, "You look like the poster boy for birth control."
Birth control. Oh, God. Oh, God. Hey, by the way, at the beginning of this movie, we're going to wrap it up here in a minute. Beginning of this movie, he sees Adrienne Barbeau. They're going to have their 5th wedding anniversary party. And
he does say something that would not hold up. Yes.
No, and I don't even remember what that was. But she's a horrible person. She always plays a horrible wife, someone that's really just nasty. But she's probably a lovely woman. But she always gets cast for these things, and she's cheating on Rodney with somebody,
Giorgio,
and he catches them together in like the side of the kitchen in the weirdest position.
She's lying down on the counter.
Sexually, she's lying down on the counter, and he's just kissing her while sitting next to the counter. So what the fuck was that? Like, what? Not that I want to see full on whatever, but like, who thinks that's hot? Like, you know what we're going to do right now? All right, I'm going to lie down on this counter. And you're going to kneel in front of me, but just kiss me. Just kiss me in the face. That's it. Nothing else. Even if it wanted to go somewhere else, I don't see how the geometry would allow it. What was happening? Like, we know we don't like her.
For some cocktail napkins. Where? Yeah. Under her dress?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to see the full-on thing, but...
So he says the inappropriate thing is when he pulls out the Polaroids and he says, "Here's you, Giorgio, and what's with the midget?" Like, so obviously that wouldn't fly today.
No.
So, but like, there was still good moments though. Like, just the way, I don't know. I still enjoyed it yesterday.
Sure.
I've seen a lot worse movies, like, as far as the way they hold up, or just like, like that didn't do well. It's funny that, that guy that was, the science teacher that was watching the monkeys or the, chimpanzees.
Yes.
He was from Real Genius too. He was that weird, like, forgetful professor.
Oh,
that they brought in at the end to like observe the house getting, blown up.
Yep.
By the popcorn.
Yeah, I remember that.
He's playing a weird dude that played a weird professor at a college.
They need nerdy guy with glasses, so they got him.
Yeah.
That scene was kind of pointless, but it was just nice to see him, like, he ordered a pizza for the monkeys, like, "Hey, we got it, no problem."
Yeah.
I mean, that's funny.
There's a little trivia here.
Okay.
The song that's playing when the guys all the jocks are just sitting around in caveman outfits drinking beers and nobody's showing up at their party.
Yep.
The song playing on the record player, "Everybody's Crazy." It was it's very rocking, like, like as far as it wasn't fast, but it was like, you could tell it was like a hard rock type of sound.
Yeah.
It was Michael Bolton doing rock before he became an adult contemporary guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hoot.
He has an album.
I didn't know he did that.
Bolton. Yeah. It was a band called Bolton. It was before he decided to do everybody else's songs.
Bolton.
Yeah.
And everyone went bolting from the record store.
Right.
All right. Cool. Want to see if it holds up?
I would say, yeah.
It's time now for final judgment. Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
The District. I don't know what that is.
That's right. Go Nats.
Oh, gotcha.
Defend the district.
All right. Well, Rodney almost felt he got some final judgment at the end of the film, but luckily he made it through his oral exam.
Yes, luckily, yes. Oh, boy.
Sam Kinnison's scene is phenomenal, by the way.
It is funny.
With the whole, like him, like screaming at the poor girl. Is she right? I know it's the most popular version of that. Like his like sort of like lower voice, and then he loses his mind.
I like Sam Kinison back in the day in small doses. Like if you ever listen to a stand-up of his, you just like, okay, is it going to be a guy screaming for an hour? But certainly in this movie, it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it was great because we did the lower version first.
The calm and then
let's talk about why did we pull our troops out of Vietnam?
Yeah.
Yes, that
You're back here. Listen to Beatles records, smoking pot. Oh, sorry. And his eyes are just bugging out. Oh my God. You know what happened? Sorry, we're gonna do Final Judgment. You know what happened when he died, right?
Yeah, he finally cleaned up and he got hit by a drunk driver.
He got hit by a drunk driver, and he was on the road, and somebody found him, and he was talking to himself. And I'm going to paraphrase, and he said something along the lines of, "What? No, now? But I don't want to. Okay."
All right.
Strange. All right.
Yeah.
So, does the movie hold up? I would say no. I would say it does not hold up. It is far of its time in terms of the setup of a movie. Certainly, there are gross comedies now, but the gross comedies are of an age, right? They're your 30-year-old virgins. They're your
or 40
enthusiasms. They're your yeah. When I say 30,
you said 30. Yeah.
Well, we're shaving off 10 years.
Yeah.
40-year-old virgin, all that stuff. This is the end. Certainly gross in its own way. I didn't like it either. It was just too gross. It was too gross. Anyway, bottom line here is that if you want to see some irreverent humor from the 80s, go for it. You don't like it, turn it off. I felt a little Benny Hilled by it. A bunch of, like, an old guy chasing around young people kind of makes me a little bit squeamish. Back in the day, in 87, 1990, 1992, didn't care so much. Now I do. Certainly not, some of the things that they say are not going to fly now. But like I said, it was of the age. If you want a snapshot of early 80s humor, and the cleanest Rodney Dangerfield you're going to get in a movie, go for it. It's that's what I would say to that. Jason?
Now, before I get to mine, I want to say that Melanie hated, I think she was afraid to admit it on that episode of Caddyshack. She might not have, said it but then she, because she was new. Yeah. She had only been a couple episodes in. Yep. But she has since revealed how much she hated that movie. Yeah. And she doesn't like him now. So I'm going to assume that she would have not liked this. However, I think she would have been a little more pleasantly surprised than watching Caddyshack. I think this movie overall would have just felt like an easier pill to swallow than like Caddyshack or whatever,
But I will say, if you don't like Rodney, it's a tough sell to try to convince somebody.
Oh, no. I'm not saying I would have wanted her to try to like it. I just meant I think even though she probably wouldn't have, I would say this movie is definitely like I said, it's just a milder, more cartoonish version of, what else you could have gotten out of him, from back then.
I agree.
Easy money. No, it doesn't hold up because it does feel like in a straight up 80s, like everything felt like those awful outfits that the background singers were wearing on stage, really bad. Right, it's like I don't know if I don't even know if they look good back then. On the women, you know what I'm talking about, those three girls that are singing background vocals. That was pretty rough. But there was just and if you're gonna find humor in here, that like the mentioning of the word midget or it's not overt, there's not the gay slur as much, if there was, it it wasn't as noticeable. It's not predominant sort of in Monster Squad had 4 or 5 gay slurs to insult somebody right away. So this didn't have that as much. If it did, I don't remember. So I'm just saying. So there was aspects of this that isn't as bad as far as offensive or stuff but still there's stuff that's not going to hold up just by the way it's presented. That's it pretty much. I don't know. Well,
it's a weird line, Jay, because look, if you tune into a comic on Netflix and you watch the first 15 minutes and you're like, I'm not into this. I know what he or she is going for. I'm not digging it. They have every right to do it. I don't have to watch it. And then you click it off, right? But then there's the other side of us that likes to play Cards Against Humanity, where the goal is to say the worst possible things. And that's hysterical, right? Have you ever played Cards Against Humanity? Do you know it exists?
Nope.
All right, look it up. It's a card game where you're just basically, the idea is to match cards together to say the most horrible things you could possibly say. And because they're so horrible, you laugh at it. Because you would never say this thing that you said on your card, that you're saying, this phrase I'm putting together on this card is funny, but it's horrible. But that's the joke, right? That's the joke. You're saying these horrible things. If you don't want to play Cards Against Humanity, don't play it. You know what I mean? If you don't want to see that comic, don't watch him or her. And with this movie, we're saying straight up, like, it's Rodney. Don't expect more. And if you're not into it, don't watch it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can't erase
Unless you're
it.
forced to for a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Melanie. So, all right. Anyway. Okay.
Well, so that was our show, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed us talking about back to school. We miss Melanie. As soon as, she's able, she'll be back. And then we'll do some TMI again. And one day soon we'll do Predator 2. Can't promise it's the next episode. It might be Independence Day, depending on timing. Like I said, I really want to try to get that in time for, and this month is going to be weird as far as when we're available all together, or even the two of us. So bear with us. I apologize. I know it was 3 weeks between the last release and the one before that. Just sometimes life gets in the way.
That's why you need notifications. You get that, you hear that bell, you know it's us.
Yeah, man.
So listen.
So
damn it.
All right. Well, until next time, movies may not age like fine wine, but we drink it anyway. Bye.
Sounds like what we think about the movie. Film crickets, chirping about movie crickets, chirping about, chirping about, chirping about, chirping, chirping, chirping about film crickets, chirping about movies.